Hello and welcome. Welcome back to another series of conversations. And for those of you that you don't know me, my name is Noushin. And I have a passion to have the conversation about mind, body, soul, spirit, connection, and union, and bring this conversation to our daily life rather than just someday, one seminar, one book, how we can practice it in our daily life. And inside of that, I created a series of interviews. If you would like, you can go to my YouTube channel, subscribe so you can be notified for the new ones and watch the one that I already made. And today's topic, I picked our individuality and our uniqueness, what it is to honor our soul and express our individuality and our uniqueness. And I have the honor and privilege to have Miss Gwendelyn Kay with us today. And Gwendelyn is a success coach and as a hypnotherapist and master of NLP practice, she is unlocking wherever you are having blocks and you cannot go further in your life. So she's coaching you and she can just keenly listen to you and what you need to do for the next step and unlock your life and move on. And she's coaching for that process. And also she leads yoga laughter. I would love to come to one of your classes and just, it's great for uplifting and like motivation and just be in a crowd and just laugh. So that's wonderful. So please join me to welcome Mrs. Gwendelyn Kay.
Hi, good to meet you, and I'm so excited for this conversation today.
Same here. I'm just so honored that you say yes and you made yourself available for this conversation. And we didn't put it on the bio, but you are a public speaker as well. I've been to one of your talks, and the way you said it, the way you express yourself, it just made me like goosebumps that it's just like so great to be able to the society that wants us to all be like a cookie cutter and like be like each other and don't make any wave. You're standing out with the story that if you would love to share is just like great to hear that.
It's amazing that kind of feedback because so for people who don't know, I was just part of a thing called DebX, and in that we do an 8-minute talk, which is like a TED Talk, right? So I went in thinking I could do something about laughter yoga. Laughter is a lot of fun. Laughter yoga is laughter for no reason at all combined with yoga type breathing. So no, you don't do yoga, you laugh, and I lead you in that. And I was like, oh, that'll be great. The crowd will love it. But when I sat down to write, it came up that I had a very abusive childhood. And so I have a lot of stories around that because I've overcome so much of that. And the story that came to me was something about me being on a couch, watching my father chop down the door in front of us. Now, very violent, very just not full of possibilities. And in that lifestyle, in that childhood, I couldn't believe I'd be sitting here doing a video, to be honest. I didn't believe I'd be on stage talking to people. And I actually didn't really want to tell this story, to be honest, because there was so much angst in it and so much there. But what I realized is that even though I didn't believe I could do anything, I really didn't believe I could do anything. I was told I couldn't do anything. I was told I was stupid. I was told that who do you think you are? And I didn't believe I could do it, but I decided that I wanted to do stuff. I decided I wanted to be happy. I decided that I wanted a different life. I had no idea if I could get it. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I decided. And when I decided, whether I believed it or not, I started to create it and started to look for it. So like for me, it's really huge because we have all these seminars that say, if you believe it, you can create it. You need to believe it. And don't get me wrong, if you believe something, you can so get it, right? But what if you don't believe it? And I think there's a lot of people who don't believe they can do something. And so I want to speak to that because I needed to hear that when I was little.
Yes, that's great. The point that you said it, that we hear a lot of things, but how to do it, it's completely different. That's why I would love to have this conversation in a real life example, not just reading something and just know about it, but knowing how to do it, and the people that they can literally hold your hand and walk you through and just show you how it's going to be done in your way, because as I said, we are talking about our individuality. Yes.
Well, and that's why I love, I'm trained in NLP. I'm a master practitioner, and NLP stands for neuro-linguistic programming. And what it basically means is, like, you know, everybody has a computer, right? But if you go to somebody's house, their computer is completely different than your computer, even if it's the same one. There's different software, it runs differently, you have different keystrokes or whatever it is. So part of the NLP is that you're unique. My conversation with you is going to be different than my conversation with somebody out there. And the way that you're going to achieve something is completely different than somebody else. So what I love about my life right now is that I get to talk to people where they're at. No cookie cutter. I mean, I have a bunch of tools I can use, don't get me wrong. But I love that. I love that people are unique, and I love finding the way that they can be successful. It's not the same way for everybody.
Yeah.
I think that's important that we remember that, because I think we all try to live up to these, like, oh, I'm going to be like Tony Robbins, or I'm going to be like this guy or that girl, or
yes.
And I mean, it works to some extent. You get a little bit farther, but when it comes right down to it, if you're you, which I'm learning, I'm still I'm like totally like, you know, trying to figure out who I am and going with that. But when you're more fully you, it's just a life full of more aliveness, more fun. I'm starting to love my life because I'm figuring out who I am.
Yes, and as you said, it just can be like as a creation, that who I am.
Yeah.
And it's not like, you know, what I taught who I am or what society thinks what I should be. It's just like really, really in deep down who I am. And if you would just talk about that belief part that you said, you know, we just need to believe it or achieve it, or we hear all that. So what it was for you that you knew when you decided, you know, it's just that moment, like nanosecond moment that we decide to do something. So when you decided that, you know, you want to do different life, what is that the experience for you, or the story behind it?
Yeah, so I can remember, and I believe it was a time that I was on State Street, and I was sitting at a restaurant by myself, feeling lonely. I mean, I had a lot of reasons to feel lonely, sad, and depressed, right? I mean, my childhood was not very good. I didn't have a lot of friends, because in that kind of a childhood, you don't, I mean, I had friends, but you just don't develop relationships in the same way. And I just remember being so lonely and so depressed. And I had actually had friends that I had alienated because I was so needy about needing attention or caring, or just like somebody to hear me. And I just got so tired of being depressed. I got so tired of just not feeling good about myself. I mean, I would see other people in the world feeling good about themselves when maybe they were doing things I was like, it's not very nice. So why can't I feel good about myself? So I just decided that I was going to feel good about myself, and I decided that I was going to have a better life. Now, at that time, I had just made a decision. Like, I had no idea like how I was going to do it, what I was going to look for. It seemed impossible, to be honest. I just didn't think it was possible. But I kept living. So I get up every day and decide that my life is going to be better. And then I have different conversations with people in that kind of a mindset. And I wake up every day, and it's funny because stuff starts to appear. Like if I decided I wanted to, talk to a giraffe, I bet you within a week I'd be talking to a giraffe. It might be a stuffed giraffe. But when I decide things and that I just got really tired of being sad and alone and tired and depressed. And I just got tired. So that was it.
So as you mentioned, the first step was just like deciding and then changing the mindset. rather than go to the old model of, this is not working, I'm depressed, getting up with that. When you decide that, it's just like changing even the conversation in the head.
Yep.
That, this is me right now. I'm happy, and I don't know, maybe just like faking until you make it. It's going to be true in this scenario. But how it was like one after another? How did you see the results? And as you said, the mindset is, to me, the mindset is like everything. As I think this is from Einstein, that he says that the first thing we want to start our life is to believe either we are living in a hostile universe or we are living in a loving and caring universe. So that's like a very, very basic. So that's a mindset, as you said. And so how it started for you, that you saw this one and then it just like takes you to the next step and to the next step. And then if you would just share that, what it is right now, because we know it was a lonely, sad, depressed life. And right now, just you are very, very successful and obviously happy person to be able to lead the laughter yoga. So
yeah. So I think these questions are awesome. Thank you so much. What it was is that, to be honest, when you're in the dark, when you're in that space where there's nothing is possible and you just can't see a way out, it's like literally every day, sometimes moment to moment, sometimes hour to hour, deciding it's going to get better. I don't know how, it's going to get better. I don't know how, and doing it over and over and over and over again. Because to be honest, your brain, now that I'm trained in NLP, I understand that what you tell your brain, it has to create in the world. So if I keep telling it life is beautiful and life is really good, it's not, for me, it's not really fake it till I make it, but it's practice. Practice till I get there. Practice till I get there. Everything I do is just practice. Sometimes it fails miserably. Sometimes I, would try to talk to somebody and be friendly and it would go poorly and I'd feel really bad. But I would get up again. I'm going to have a great life. I'm going to have great friends. I'm going to be happy. And so it's like, for me, it was like day to day. And it was really hard. I mean, it wasn't easy and it didn't happen overnight. And it's not going to. And at least part of my sense of self was like, I can get a better life. I don't know how, and eventually it'll be there. And then starting to find people who believe that way, started to read books. It's great to read books and to find videos to keep you motivated. And I highly recommend that. And I would write it down. I would write it down every day. I would remind myself every day. And there were days I didn't. There were days I was just dark and I was still depressed and lonely or whatever. And, maybe I'd cry for a day. I'm okay with that because it's part of the process. It's not easy to change something that you've been doing for 10, 20, 15, whatever years it's been that you've been doing that, 30, 40 years.
Yes.
But I would slowly start to make different friends that were more positive. I would find books that were more positive and that would help me really get that other people have been struggling and they've done it. Mm-hmm. I mean, just because I didn't believe I could didn't mean I couldn't do it. It just meant I had to keep doing it and keep deciding every day. Yes. So from there, I just started gaining more friends and getting more self-acceptance. I would try new things, like I would do a 5K. Never thought I could do that at all. Knew I was going to be embarrassed. Knew it was going to be horrible. It was going to be horrible. I'm going to do it anyway. So that's kind of what I say. I just did it anyway. So I joined a 5K. Horrified. And then I went and I had so much fun and other people were walking. I mean, I was passing by people who were sitting down to rest and I was shocked. I mean, so trying new things, like you could maybe fail at, maybe not. Trying something you're afraid of, because I think oftentimes you find that what you're afraid of, the fear is bigger than the actual event. And then what I got out of that, every time I did something like that, every time I challenged myself to do something really frightening, because it was terrifying, really, I found that I was stronger than I thought, and I could do more than I thought I could do. I was honestly shocked. And then I was wondering, well, what else can I do? If I could do this, what else can I do? And so I continue to do that. And nowadays I'm on stage doing speaking events. I'm doing things like this. I do laughter events, which just raise your energy and make you feel better and get oxygen and just really motivate you for whatever you want to accomplish. I do coaching. I do seminars. I do all kinds of stuff that I had thought about for years. Yeah. And to be honest, I wasn't sure I could do them. And I've been doing them. And every time I do something now, I have so much joy in it, and I find so many amazing people that it's hard not to stop doing it now. It's like a habit.
Yeah.
So I've built the habit over, and it's fantastic. I mean, I'm talking to you today. I mean, what could be better?
Yes.
Awesome.
And inside of, being on a stage, and we met and, we talked, and it's just like, as you said, one thing after another. Yeah. How you want to say it about, not the obstacles, but the mind process that it stops us to be that unique individual and not express ourselves.
Yeah. So in my coaching, it's interesting because I will, like, just for instance, I was coaching a couple people about how to rearrange their office, and it was two different people in an office, and one person liked things hidden and neat looking, and the other person needed to see it. And so they would get mad at each other. And so I think a lot of times we get angry because we're not doing it the way somebody else did it. Or like, I'm doing what they did, but it's not working. And so I get to help people find out what it is for them that works and why it works for them specifically. And there are ways to work with other people that do that also. So actually, I think I lost track of the question, but
you're about the individuality, that, yeah. What's the block, and then you overcome, yeah. that block.
So a lot of times I think the part of the blocks are that we think we should do it a certain way. Mm-hmm. Or we think we're going to look stupid, or we're going to look silly, and we might, but I'll be honest, all of the things that I thought were stupid and that I've judged myself for, because I spend a lot of time judging myself very harshly. Yeah. Those are the things now that are kind of my superpower now. Like, I'm very organized in certain ways, where other people aren't. I was surprised by that. So learning to embrace those things that are naturally, like, what brings you joy? Do you like to put the spice rack in order by spices and label them? If that brings you joy, do that. If you like it to be a mess and it's beautiful and chaos is great for you, maybe that's what you like. It's kind of like, what is that thing that makes you feel really good inside when you do it, and that you look at it and you can go, oh, that little breath, right? So I think so many times we resist being that because somebody told us it wasn't right, it wasn't the way to do it, it's bad. Saying things are good or bad is just kind of ridiculous sometimes, because being organized can be really good for somebody, but being organized for somebody else can be really stunting their artistic grace, or their, whatever it is. I don't know.
Yeah. Absolutely. I know people that they're, in their chaos, as you said, like a beautiful mess, they know exactly what everything is. Yeah. But that works for them. Yeah. And then it just annoys somebody else's. But the whole idea is do what works for you and express your individuality and your uniqueness, to be, rather than something to be ashamed of it, something that, you feel guilty that I shouldn't be. As you said, like a trademark. It's just like your trademark. It's just like your superpower, that you are this way. Yeah, like for me, I love conversations about, the awareness and the consciousness. And it might like annoy a lot of people, but this is me, how to express myself, because I do believe that we are not just this physical body. We are way more than that. Any way we can express it. So it's even it's in a messy table or a messy desk.
Well, and the thing is, when you're yourself, you find more people who accept you for who you are, and not those people that accept you for what they thought you were. Yes. So, if you're like running around with a bunch of people that are doing the thing you think you should do, but you don't, something about it doesn't feel good to you, or you don't feel like you're good at it, sometimes that can just be harming. I mean, because then you self-judge yourself, like you're not doing it good enough. Mm-hmm. And I'll be honest, I spent a long time trying to figure out who I was, like I was in a very abusive childhood, so I had to be a certain person. And then I had to figure out, well, what parts of me were that abuse and acting to that, and what parts actually made me happy. And I started to experiment with a few things like painting. I'm a recovered perfectionist. So I started painting imperfectly, and now I love the paintings I do, even though they don't come out the way I thought they would. So experimenting and trying new things, and really just learning how not to judge yourself so harshly. Because I really believe everybody is beautiful and creative and amazing in their way. And I'm always fascinated to find out what that is for them, because it's different, and it's usually different from mine. And I love that, because it makes, I don't know, you can't make bread with one ingredient, you know?
Yes, I don't know, maybe some people can do that. But I want to ask you something else. We were talking about, if you remember, or you recall, we talked about age, and it's just like there is a belief that in a certain age, and I know scientifically it's proven that by age of 35 we already program our mind, we already know what it is, and everything is based on that. But it shows like 87 years woman that she goes for the bodybuilding, and so many other achievements. So what do you think about the age?
This is a funny question for me, because when I was little, and it's going to sound really funny, but I thought there was no chance. I was born, and I didn't understand that this was, I thought maybe this was because of my trauma in my childhood. I thought there's no chance for me, I can't do anything. But when I had a kid, my kid feels the same way. So I kind of think there's some genetic thing going on there. So I always thought, no matter what it was, like every song's already been written, so why would I write? Again, I'm a recovered perfectionist, so a recovering perfectionist. And I realized eventually that it doesn't matter if everything's been done before or if it's been written before. You haven't written it, and you haven't done it. And when you do it, that's where the change comes, and that's where the beauty is. So I grew up thinking it's too late. As a kid, I thought, I mean, it was nuts. Nobody told me any different, so I believed it. I'm telling my kid, no, you're just started. You've got your whole life ahead of you. I am now 50 years old. I turned 50 on January 1st. And I'll be honest, thank you. It was so fun. And here's the thing. It doesn't matter. Like if I live another, let's see, 20, 30, 40 years, whatever it is, that's 20 or 30, 40 years I can accomplish so much. Yes. So why would I not at this point in my life? And again, it took me a long time to get here and a lot of work, don't get me wrong. But why would I not embrace what I love doing? I love coaching. I love doing seminars. I love doing laughter. It's a little crazy, but it works and it's amazing. So if I spent the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years doing the things that I love, it's way worth it to me. So Gary Vee always tells you it doesn't matter how old you are. Absolutely agree. I'm just beginning. So I'm literally starting my life over, and like my whole life is ahead of me.
Yes.
Again.
Life starts after 50. So remember that.
And why not? 20, it doesn't matter where you are. You just have to decide that, okay, that was whatever it was, and it, whatever age or whatever, but age has nothing to do with success or not success.
No, I agree with that. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have one more question. It's what's your reaction or your, I don't know, call it a strategy, that when you are your authentic self, when you are yourself, either through the laughter or coaching or however you live your life, and you notice the people that they have like certain expectations, either from the family members or co-workers or even just society, you're gonna get a coffee and you're laughing out loud, and then you just see people looking at you. What's your way of still being you without paying attention that why people, and don't get me wrong, it's a fine line. I'm not saying distraction for others or disrespect for others. That's not what we are talking about. It's just like you still be you with all those looks or comments. So what's your way of doing it?
It's the same thing that I do for like any blocks that are in my life, like, or anything that comes up that's a challenge in my life. I know what I'm committed to. Like, I know I've chosen that I want to be an authentic person. I want to be the best me that I can be. And I'll be honest, I'm a little much for some people. Like, I do some crazy things. But then again, on the same side of that, you've got that. So some people are going to think you're like, meh, whatever, or that person's weird. And then on this over here, on this side, you've got people who think you're amazing, who are inspired by what you do. Now, I could totally concentrate on all those people that don't like me, or I'm too much for, or that want to judge me, because I can judge myself all, same thing. Those aren't my people, though. And that's okay. They don't have to like me. They don't have to accept me. That's their thing. I've been there, done that. And on here, on the other side, is all of these people that are wanting to play with me, wanting to grow with me, wanting to do that stuff. So it's just a matter of what I want to focus on. Yeah. Now, I spend a lot of my life focusing on being judged and not liking myself and other people not liking me. So I can do that, but that doesn't get me anywhere but depressed and lonely and sad and judgmental. And it's a mindset. Like, sometimes that affects me, and it's going to. You're going to have blocks. You're going to have stuff that comes up, but I just literally stop. I take a deep breath in and I take a deep breath out. And then I remember what I'm up to.
Yes. Like,
I want to help people change their lives. I want to help me change my life, and I want to have more joy in my life. And to do that, I can't pay attention to those people.
Yes.
And you just have to, it's like a reminder. Sometimes it's every day. Sometimes it's every week. Sometimes it's every hour if it's a bad day, right? So it's just that reminder of what I'm committed to and what I actually do want to accomplish every day, day in and day out.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. It's just your commitment and the priority that we set for ourselves, that this is who I am, and then the other blocks, it's just like, okay, now I have this one, how I'm going to deal with that, like deal with what's in front of us. So that's great. So with the respect to your time, anything you would like to add to this conversation?
I'm just really happy. I hope that anyone who's listening really gets that they're just perfect the way they are, growing. We're all growing. Don't get us wrong.
Yes.
And if you can find some self-acceptance for yourself, and, maybe you don't have it, or maybe you do have it, but maybe it just grows a little bit. If we can just have that effect in the world, that's just like everything to me. So, and thank you for this conversation. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining me. And when I publish that, definitely I put your link and your YouTube channel and all the coachings that you do. And for the people that they are in that side of, they want to play with you.
Over here. I deal with people over here too who are very judgmental, who want to change. And I have no problem with that.
Yes, they can turn off the video. Yes, they can turn off the video. Don't listen to the rest of it. And for those people that they want to play, they want to listen, definitely we post all that. Thank you so much again for your time and for your wisdom and for your laughter. And I would love to come to one of your classes and just laugh together.
I'll let you know. I'm going to put a calendar together in the next couple weeks.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Gwendelyn. Have a great day.
Bye.
Talk later.